Hello there. Thank you so much for joining us once again. My name is Ogaga Otautu. We are launching a new series called TAD Exclusives, where we'll be spotlighting Africans in the diaspora making tremendous global impact. Our first guest is Mr. Desmond Alufohai, the Director of Protocol and International Affairs here at the Miami-Dade Aviation Department, Miami International Airport, where he leads the largest protocol officers here in the United States. He was recently honored with the US President's Lifetime Achievement Award. Desmond shares with us insights from his distinguished career and his contributions to humanitarian work, economic development, and civic engagement worldwide. Thank you so much for coming on the show. We're glad to have you here. How are you doing today?
Well, thank you so much for considering me. I know that the Nigerian diaspora is huge, so I'm just so privileged and honored that you'll come here to want to have this talk with me. I'm really appreciative.
Yeah, we're grateful. I mean, I wouldn't really call it privilege because we are privileged to have someone like you in a position like this here in the diaspora because it means a lot. And we need to start celebrating people our own.
Absolutely.
So thank you so much. We're glad
Thank
to have you.
Thank you.
Okay, great. So we're going to start, just getting to know you first. I mean, where you're from, how you got here. I mean, what brought you here in this position?
Well, so of course, my name should already give my tribe away. I'm from Sabongida. I was born in Sabongida, Ora, in Owan West local government area of Edo State of Nigeria. In 1965, my mom was crowned Miss Nigeria Beauty pageant, and so that gave her the opportunity to travel all over the world. And so she had the incredible vision that her children must see the world. So at the age of 17, she sent me and my junior sister Gladys to Belgium. Was the first Brussels was the first international city we visited. And so when we came back, she said, "Well, you can see that there is much more out there. So work hard." And so I went to University of Benin. And so when I graduated in 1984, I did my youth corps. After my youth corps in 85, she sent me abroad to do my master's after graduating in biological sciences from UNIBEN. So I moved to the United States in 1985 to do my MBA in Boston area. While in Nigeria, I was already a member of the JCs, the Junior Chamber International.
Oh, okay.
And so I continued that membership when I came to the US and eventually ended up working at the world headquarters of Junior Chamber International as the director at the world headquarters assigned to Africa and Middle East. And so we continued my journey of internationalism because as the JCI director for Africa and the Middle East, from 1991 to 2002, I traveled to 21 countries every year, up to 25 countries every year for 11 years. And so that's one of the reasons why I earned the name Mr. International, because of my international travels. I left Junior Chamber International to join Miami-Dade County, and I was the International Trade Coordinator for the Office of International Trade Consortium. Miami-Dade County has an international trade department. My job was to arrange foreign trade missions for the mayor, county commissioners, and local businesses and I was assigned to Africa and the Middle East. So again, my international travels continued, and most of the foreign dignitaries that came to Miami-Dade County to visit the mayor, my office was in charge of arranging the protocol and the visits. And so that was how my odyssey began. And so by the time I joined Miami-Dade County, helping out with the county's protocol for those who arrived here. So by 2019, April, when this position became vacant, I applied and I was hired as the director of protocol and international affairs for Miami International Airport. The core mission of this division is to facilitate the movement of dignitaries that arrive at this airport and also to assist the international trade, the international initiatives of the airport. So I know that might be familiar with what we call diplomatic immunity and privilege. So there are certain types of individuals in this world, who are ascribed some diplomatic immunities when they. So our job is to protect their diplomatic rights and immunities while they are at this airport. That's the goal of So Miami International Airport has the largest protocol office of any airport in the U.S. and was the first airport to establish a protocol office. We've been in existence since 1988. And so we're very, very proud to have that distinction. Obviously, also because of our proximity to the Caribbean and Latin America, we receive a lot of dignitaries, official delegations, VIPs that come through this airport. So in a nutshell, we average about more than 5,000 protocol requests a year, which translates to about 12 or 13 per day. So having the largest protocol office in the U.S., we're able to manage that volume of dignitaries that request for their protocol expedite assistance.
Thanks for that. How do you balance the protocol expectations versus the effort rule?
Well, we are lucky that we have the infrastructure, we have the experience, and we have the management to handle that. Miami International Airport is the number one economic engine for the state of Florida. This airport that is run and operated by Miami-Dade County, the economic impact to our community is $181 billion. Let me repeat that. The economic impact of an airport that is run by a local government county, not the state, not the federal, produces $181 billion of economic impact into our community and hires direct and indirect more than 850,000 jobs. So 1 in 4 jobs in Miami-Dade County is generated by this airport. So 56 million passengers. It makes us one of the top airports for passengers in the U.S. We are number one to the Caribbean. We're number one in cargo in the U.S.
Thank you so much for that. So I'm going to go to my next question, which says, what specific role has shaped your leadership style? Because this position is I won't call it sensitive position, but it's a position where you have to oversee a large amount. First, how many staff do you oversee?
We have the largest protocol staff of any office. We are now about to be 13 in preparation for the World Cup and the G20. Miami is hosting 2 major events next year. The FIFA 2026 World Cup, and as you know, several matches will be played here in Miami, and of course, President Trump will be hosting the G20 Heads of Summit in December next year. So we are preparing for those 2 high-profile events, and of course, we know that the protocol office will be front and center in receiving and meeting, and providing protocol expedite escort for them when they arrive. So we already have an experience. Besides that, we do this on a daily basis. But as you go into the corporate world, there are a lot of management and leadership classes that helps one. But it's also the experience of learning and failing and learning again. So for me, when you wake up every day, you have to define what is success. You have to define what are the skills that you want your subordinates to, just as you look at the same skills that your siblings look up to in you. What makes you not a good boss? What makes you a good leader? Because there's a difference between a boss and a leader. Uh, and so, uh, and so for me, it comes back to um, what I call uh, my four favorite agreements by Miguel Ruiz. Number one is be impeccable with your word. What does that mean? You give your word, you stand by your word. Because when you give your word and you don't stand by your word, you lose trust. And so you have to be a trustworthy leader. And so the second one is don't make any assumptions. I tell my staff every day, get the facts. Don't come and assume, that. Number three, don't take anything personally. You alluded to the question that you had asked, and I said, hold on, let me go back to leadership. Don't take anything personally is one of the most critical advice that helps me on a daily basis. You are interfacing with the entire world. You run into customers every day who spit at us, who throw things at us, who abuse us. But you have to step back to ask yourself, why is that person doing that? Maybe they've been at the airport for 36 hours. Maybe they haven't even had anything to eat. Maybe they've lost their flight. Maybe, they are going to a funeral. You don't know the baggage that individual. So being on the receiving end of an abuse is not something you should take personally, because you have to try to put yourself in that person's shoes. So don't take anything personally. And of course, you wake up every day. Number four, always do your best. By the time you put everything away and you look back and you say, did I actually do all I can do to help that person? Did I do my best today in the office? So those are some of the four things that help me by Miguel Ruiz, that help me every day in my role. So, we always say that we don't have a lot of errors, room for errors, because you don't want to. In protocol, we say that when you create when there's a faux pas, you may have just disrespected not just the individual, their title, their country. So you absolutely have to be careful. So number one, what we have done here is to make sure that each protocol officer has the best level of training. So my staff and myself, we have attended the Protocol School of Washington uh, uh, courses. We are also, protocol is a career, it's a profession. We are also members of the National Association of Protocol Officers. So we get all of the training and updates and that we need. It's basically having to make sure that everybody understands the expectations. That's really the key. And also, we work with a lot of partners. Of course, our work is incumbent on working with the airlines to make sure we understand who's coming. Are they in business class? Are they in economic class? So we have all this information ahead of time. So we work in coordination with the staff of the airlines, whether it's the check-in process or the arrival process.
So, thank you so much once again. So that brings me to my next question. Miami manages extensive diplomatic and high-profile traffic. Describe the approach handling VIP and executive movements, basically, like on a daily basis.
Well, of course, I cannot mention any specific names to protect, what we have. But yes, of course, there are many situations where, for instance, a flight is delayed. You have, many of our dignitaries, coming from the Caribbean. The September is the the week of the United Nations in September is the busiest week that we have because many of the heads of states are flying from Latin America through the Caribbean to New York and back, or during inclement weather, during snow period. So there's all kinds of manner of issues that may impede the movement of a dignitary. So again, it goes back to expectations. Um, what is it that you can do? Explain what is possible. So, so a head of state leaves his country and comes to Miami to transit to go to Washington D.C. or New York. There's a time specific, or even the Minister of Foreign Affairs, or any dignitary for that matter. They are going to perhaps a date specific or a time specific event. Their goal is to get there. My goal is to make sure that there's a smooth transition in Miami. Luckily for us, we have a diplomatic lounge. And so we also have a large, a very robust concentration of, in fact, we have the third largest concentration of diplomatic presence in the US. We have a lot of consulates here. So we can offer the use of our diplomatic lounge. We can offer some refreshment. We can offer while trying to work with the airlines to see the next best option to get them to their destination. So again, we try our best to have value added, experience to our dignitaries because we know they are in transit going for somewhere. Well, when I immigrated from Nigeria in 1985, obviously I came as a student. I like to use the analogy of the butterfly. You know, the butterfly has a stage of metamorphosis. There's the egg, there's the larva, there's the pupa, and then comes this beautiful, Each stage is challenging. At the age of the pupa, the butterfly to be is so ugly that at that point in time, you just want to crush it and throw it away. Any immigrant who emigrate from their country to a new country has to have the mindset of the butterfly. Number one, I always talk of expectations. It's not your country. Any country has the right to do whatever they want with visitors, with immigrants, So you are coming in the very first place under a very extremely difficult situation. As a matter of fact, it is so difficult that many of us were already here as graduates. And so we really have to start as if we just left primary school. Exactly. So it is difficult. But I also have to tell you this. Nigerians or many immigrants are most of the resilient human beings on earth. Of course, you may already be aware that the last census, 2020 census, Nigerians are the most educated immigrant group in the US. Nigerians are also the most wealthiest immigrant group in the U.S. compared to the average, a typical Nigerian. Of course, Nigerians are also, Nigerians in the diaspora also produces the most professional athletes in the U.S. If you look, in fact, my own home team, Miami Heat, the 2020, each NBA team has 15 players. In 2022 Miami Heat roster, they had 5 Nigerians.
Wow.
I bring this up for a reason that newly arrived immigrants should have their eyes and their frame of mind in that butterfly. You already have a lot of Nigerians who are successful that you can look up to, that have gone through the same hardship, the same system. There is no university, there is no hospital, there is no, think of it, Nigerians are everywhere. So the support system is there, regardless of the reason why anybody will immigrate. The most important thing is you're here now. The incredible amount of opportunities that is here, you have to decide to take care of yourself, to make sure that you do not go to the wrong path. Of course, the Nigeria suffers from the Chimamanda's danger of a single story. What I do to counter that is educate. I just gave you examples. So when some Nigerian scam artist, I received, WhatsApp to send something in, I said, well, don't use that to judge an entire nation of more than 200 million people. Look at what Nigerians have. There are people who've never even heard of Chinua Achebe in literature, or Wole Soyinka. So we have to be the ones that narrate, that tells our narrative. We have to be the ones that change our story. We have to be the one to tell our story and not allow the single narrative of what one Nigerian did yesterday as the basis to paint an entire nation of incredible.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Alufohai. You've really educated us today, and we're glad to have you as our first guest on TAD Exclusive, because the goal is to celebrate Africans in diaspora, celebrate what they're doing, celebrate how far they've come, and how they're impacting the society. Because someone out there watching us right now will be able to say, you know what? If he can do it, I have hope. I can do it. I can succeed.
Absolutely.
Forget that I'm an immigrant or not. There's hope and there's a future. That's the word. So I'm going to ask you one last question. What's your final message to someone watching us here as a Nigerian living in diaspora as it relates to them chasing their dream?
So when you wake up every day, look yourself in the mirror and ask yourself, who am I? And what am I going to project to the world today? I think we get caught up on being, when we are assigned labels, we get caught up on, don't. It goes back to the 4 agreements that I gave you. When you look in the mirror, say to yourself, I am going to do my best today. Do your best. In whatever situation, do your best. You know why? Because you can only control you. You cannot control what your neighbor says about you or the perception he has about you. You cannot control what your boss thinks about you. You cannot control what the lady in the store thinks about you. You cannot control what the government thinks. The government has already told us where we come from, so. But you need to change that narrative. Because if you are If the perception is that you are lazy and you reinforce that laziness, then you will just play into the narrative. So to answer your question, what I try to do every day is not just to go out and educate people and people say, oh, huh? I didn't know that. But also to walk the walk and play the part, you know. You'll be amazed. I wear my Nigerian outfit to a lot of events and people will stop me to say, wow, where's that from? And how can I get that? Is there a store? Is there, where can I, so, when I started to travel to many countries, in Asia, I'm like, wow, these people are very proud of their culture. That was when I really began to delve into more and more into my own culture. There's nothing to be ashamed of to say, I'm from Nigeria and I'm from Africa, the cradle of civilization, and uh, so we should be proud of our heritage. We should be proud of what. Come on, you want to tell me that there are not, when somebody says, "Oh, Nigeria, scam," I say, "Well, have you heard about the United? Have you heard about Mr. Madoff, the number one scam artist in the entire world? There is no country on earth
without its own.
Exactly. And yet they are very proud of their country.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's why I don't subscribe to the negativity on WhatsApp, social media about Nigeria and all these videos and corruption. Is because we are the ones helping to reinforce the nonsense.
We should tell the story the way we want to. We should tell our own story.
Yes. So you are tweeting something. Come on now. I work at an airport. You are tweeting something that happened at the airport in Nigeria. You know how many airports I have been to where I can send you something that is negative about that airport? But yet, nobody tweets anything that is right about. Never. You want to tell me that somebody has not helped somebody in that airport? But that's not the narrative that we get. So we are the ones perpetuating the negativity. We are the ones perpetuating the negative narrative, and we need to stop that. We need to stop that. We're so blessed. There is no disco hall that you go to in the world that Afrobeat music is not playing.
So true.
I was in St. Louis, Missouri to go and visit my friend. He took me to an African restaurant in Middle America. Oyibos were eating, trying it out, and the place was full. Our fashion has taken over the world. What is there not to be proud of or appreciative of? So, thank you so much for your time, and we just have to have a positive, and I'm so glad that young people like you, through this medium, you are helping to tell that story, because you play a critical role as well in making sure that our stories are told. So I thank you for your dedication. I know it's a struggle, but someday you'll be the CNN of the the African diaspora.
Amen. Thank you, Mr. Alufohai. We are so glad to have you here today. Thank you for your kind words and for educating us, basically, generally. So we appreciate that. Thank you once again.
Thank you so much
for having you some other time.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you.